No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. This show, of course, is brought to you by the Wrestling Realm, folks. So before I get on today's show, I got to give a special shout out because as I record this, it is November 6th, 2019. What does that mean? It is my son's 10th birthday. So I got to give a special shout out, a happy birthday to Jonathan before I go forth and foremost. You know, you may or may not see him on the show one day. He's done some media work with me before, Fox Sports 1340 back in the day. So go out there, check it out. But, folks, make sure you subscribe to the Wrestling Realm. Make sure you have subscribed to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook fan page, follow us on Twitter, follow me at Brian H. Waters, and of course, follow my brother, the real Dwayne Allen, at Dwayne Allen 24. Woo, folks, so I had one idea for this show. It was going to be called, I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm going to break the fourth wall. The show was going to be called Adam Cole Has Become a Household Name. But then I thought about it. While that is true, there's more to this story here. And what I've noticed, folks, is that's how you do a WWE invasion. We saw on Friday, I talked about this Saturday morning when I recorded the show. We saw on Friday, the NXT roster invaded the WWE roster, invaded a half-full SmackDown roster. So now, I'm sitting here wondering, and I thought about this. Would we, let's say the issues in Saudi Arabia never happened, would we have still gotten an NXT invasion with Survivor Series being WWE versus NXT, or should we say Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, or would things have still been the same? We would have been satisfied, but this is just better. I mean, they're called a blessing in disguise, right? The rest about Saudi Arabia, didn't get a chance to fully listen to it, but Corey Graves apparently addressed the situation and killed all the rumor and innuendos. Now, I know there's somebody out there saying, of course he did. He works for the WWE. Look, whether, let's just put it to rest. Let's just forget the whole thing about Saudi Arabia and, holding Vince hostage. Because at the end of the day, what are we going to do, right? What are fans going to do? But, back to this NXT invasion. So, Seth Rollins was on Monday Night Raw and was talking about what's next and all this other stuff. And then Triple H reminded him, every time you get in a rut, I bail you out. You got in a rut, I made you the first NXT champion. You went with the Shield that ran its course. I made you plan B. Then you became not the first, but he became WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Then he would become, he came back and all this other stuff. So he gave him an opportunity, extended his hand to join NXT, to come back home, But Rollins, he wanted to take the hard way. So he and Adam Cole had a match. So we know Adam Cole went against Daniel Bryan on Friday Night SmackDown. Could he beat Seth Rollins? He beat the former WWE champion. Could he beat the former two-time Universal champion? On Monday Night Raw in the main event. How about that? Adam Cole in the main event of SmackDown and Raw. Somebody, when the Wrestling Realm first started, was television champion at Ring of Honor. But that was not the case, as we saw, some people showed up. The Undisputed Era will show up, attack Seth Rollins. That led to the locker rooms being cleared, and you saw it first and foremost, the Raws and the Raw roster, the NXT roster, some of the NXT names just going out there, going at it. But then we shift over to NXT this past Wednesday, and suddenly the OC show up. Yes, Anderson, Gallows, and AJ Styles. When they show up, they begin the show beating up the Undisputed Era. They just let it be known. They're coming out and take care of business. That would lead us to our main event, where it would be the OC versus Tommaso Ciampa and two of his War Game buddies, Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. Now, go back and watch that match. May not be a fan of 6-man tag matches because they do them all the time, but this one was one of some substance. In the end, it was Finn Balor showing up. No, I should say Adam Cole. No, Finn Balor showed up after whatever. Yeah, Finn Balor showed up. He goes out there, and just when it looked like AJ Styles was getting ready to end the match, he told him, AJ Styles did the too sweet. Balor just kind of pointed. So you're wondering, okay, what's going on? Suddenly, AJ Styles gets back to hit the Styles Clash, and then Adam Cole runs in the ring, knocks out AJ Styles. But no, he wasn't done, because he was taking out Tommaso Ciampa as well. So that lets you know, because that's what you start wondering, because they even asked Tommaso Ciampa, you got two wars going on at the same time. You got a war with the main roster, or dare say Raw and SmackDown, because they said they're the main roster. Then you have a war with the Undisputed Era. And Adam Cole didn't care about none of that. He took out both parties, which led to him and Finn Balor kind of having that, Adam Cole just kind of letting everybody know this is his territory. This is his home. And Finn Balor stayed right there. So now the mystery is Balor a part of the Undisputed Era? Or is he eventually going to team up with his buddies, the OC? I could see the OC being that group that goes to all the shows. I mean, it just looked natural for them to be down there in NXT, because them being there adds credibility, and it did not look like they were taking a step down. They went there to handle business. And while I would have liked to seen some more invasion stuff on NXT, I understand, folks, that right now the WWE is still building up that NXT brand. So they didn't want to keep the invasion going on and on, having SmackDown and Raw people come down there, because you still have to sell us on War Games. You still have a women's War Games match that's not complete. We'll talk about that later. So it made sense for them not to go and have the main roster interfere. You still had matches with like Punishment Martinez and Pete Dunne, and then with Killian Dane being involved. That's established storylines. Then you want to get Dominant Dijakovic going and Isaiah Scott. I almost called him Shane Strickland. Isaiah Scott going. You want people to know who they are. Then you had the Cruiserweight Championship, Angel Garza and Tony Nese vying for the number one contendership for the Cruiserweight title. Angel Garza picked up the victory, by the way. But you got all this stuff going on in NXT that you don't have these guys established. You don't have them established to the USA Network. Now, I have to say, WWE put on a great show going up against AEW, or I should say NXT put on a great show going up against AEW's Go Home show. This is the first ever Go Home show for an AEW pay-per-view. And I have to say, I was not impressed. I wasn't. But I'll talk about that later. Back to Monday Night Raw. Brock Lesnar, folks, shows up, attacks. He wants to get his hands on Rey Mysterio. You saw what Rey did at Crown Jewel. He beat him up after Brock retained the WWE Championship. He beat him up bad. And Brock now has to deal with, he's got Rey Mysterio's coming after him, which they did make official. Brock versus Rey at Survivor Series for the WWE Championship. But before that happened, he attacked Dio Madden, one of the new announcers, because he was coming at Jerry the King Lawler. And I gotta give Dio Madden credit for standing up to Lesnar. That's what you do. Some people may not have liked it, but it made sense. Jerry Lawler's old. Yeah, he's been around forever. Yeah, he doesn't have gray hair, but he's old. I mean, King was a veteran when I was born. So Madden stepped up and said, no, kind of like pick on somebody your own size. Now he got beat up, but it made sense. Now, maybe he wasn't impressing somebody on commentary. If you want to look back, behind the wall, maybe they said, we need to get him off of TV right now. I don't know. But I really enjoyed the fact that he did step up and, stepping up for the elderly man in the room. And he got beat up, but then that led for Rey Mysterio to come down and attack Brock Lesnar. So, Rey and Brock, I'm actually interested in it. David versus Goliath, sure. But a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, don't believe Rey Mysterio is going to win the WWE Championship. But what if he does? That would be a shock. I mean, who thought Eddie Guerrero was going to beat Brock Lesnar? Some people may have. As somebody who was not subscribing to dirt sheets, I didn't think it was going to happen. So, but I'm going to go ahead and take my first break. I'll be back after this.
Hey guys, if you've been paying attention, you may know that the Wrestling Realm is now available on Spotify. So not only are we on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube, but we are also on Spotify. So make sure you subscribe and do not miss an episode of the Wrestling Realm or Break It Down with Brian H.
And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you are subscribed to the Wrestling Realm and make sure you subscribed on Spotify. That's probably one of my favorite platforms to listen to podcasts on. Yes, I have an Apple phone, but Spotify, I can listen to it at my desktop at work or my desktop at home, listen to it on different platforms, and then pick up right where I left off. So I found that it's actually easier for me to listen on Spotify, and you can too, and you can download it for free. Shout out to my man Corey G from Chicago. Letting me know he was listening to the show and I had him download something on iTunes. He blamed me. I was like, wait, what did I do? But I definitely appreciate Corey. We've been, internet friends for the past almost 10 years now. He's been there actually since the beginning of the Wrestling Realm. So shout out to you, bro. I really appreciate the support. Let's talk some Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley and Rusev. So McIntyre's been kind of put as the hired gun for Lana in this sense. She said to Rusev that, he couldn't face Bobby Lashley because Bobby Lashley said he hurt his groin because he was doing things that Rusev couldn't do to Lana. And okay, here we go again. So it led to him Rusev having to face Drew McIntyre, which Lashley would eventually get involved, attacking him. Wasn't hurt at all. Just please, for goodness sake, end this story. Maybe they're doing something for Total Divas. I don't know. I hope Lana is on Total Divas when it comes time for this one, because I want to see the backstage stuff for this mess. So only time will tell. But sticking with the women, man, let's go to NXT. First, I want to talk about Tanara Conti was victorious over Santana Garrett. An incredible match. Tanara Conti is a black belt. She's from Brazil, and I'm impressed. I'm really looking forward to seeing her career progress in NXT and into the WWE. Not just because she looks good, but in the ring. She's just skilled, and her style was different. So I'm very interested to see. And then we saw Dakota Kai taking on Shayna Baszler. Dakota Kai trying her darnest to get on Rhea Ripley's team for War Games. But she came up short. And Rhea Ripley said she didn't make the cut. Why didn't she? Well, because a blue-haired lady by the name of Mia Yim came out there and proved that she belonged on that team. She belonged in War Games. She was built for War Games. Mia Yim was built for War Games. If you don't believe me, go back to WSU.
Whoa, there we go.
Mia Yim. There's no doubt about it that Mia Yim is used to cages and chaos.
Oh, look at this
And
there
the
now.
fans love her here.
Able to get out of the way. Samantha Hypes, Deck Soo Young. Oh, look at this. Oh, Dragon Suplex for Brittany Blake. Spinning back fist. Anti-social duck, but she did get out of the way of that kick. What do we got here? Package pile driver coming up.
And matter of fact, I had the honor of calling it. And, you know, I talked about that before. But, yeah. So, yeah, make sure you check that out. But, don't want to do that. You know, you go back and you saw on NXT, she went out there and she just came out with a Kindle stick and beat everything moving, folks. And as she did that, she proved it. Like, I'm supposed to be here. This is where I'm supposed to be. I belong in this match. And there it was. You know, the show was called WSU Battle Tested. It was May 2017. But yeah, she went out there and proved she belonged in that match and left Rhea Ripley ultimately no choice. She proved it. You know, in that match it was Leva Bates, Mia Yim, Veda Scott, and Missy Sampson, and Xandra Bale taking on the Reckoning. Let me see if I can get this right. The Reckoning had Chrissy Rivera, shout out to Chrissy, Samantha Heights, Brittany Blake, Annie Social, and Sue Young. You know, an incredible match. I really wish that story. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. You know, the other day, so y'all know, I listen to podcasts. 9 times out of 10, I listen to yours if you're listening. I was listening to my boy Blake, my boy Ronald, my boy Vance podcast. And they brought up a discussion about WSU. Now, for those who do not know, Blake was the booker there. I was the social media producer. Shout out to Hugh. He was one of the photographers and backstage videographer for promos. So, for whatever reason, the owner, DJ Hyde, didn't have the balls to tell us that he was done. But it's like, okay, you know, that happens. Some people, you know, you move on. You don't be in these companies forever. But he never had the balls to tell us. Never said, hey guys, you know what? I'm moving on. This is the situation. So, but the whole time we were there, you know, like Blake said on his podcast, the mentality was never about booking women you want to sleep with or only pushing women you want to sleep with. You would never see me tweet anything sexual about the women. It was always about the work of art, the canvas that they painted in the picture, in the ring, you know, and that's the thing. And it was funny because I tweeted that I just hope that, you know, this locker room that's not there, because it's a completely different locker room now. And I just hope that this locker room is getting the respect that the girls in 2017 got. So at WSU Wrestling decided to tweet me back and tell me that nobody was involved that was involved back then. Okay. So the people that's there now aren't the same people that was there that we was fighting against, saying, no, we think the women should be getting more respect. Okay, that's cool, right? The funny thing was that we saw it back and forth, and I was like, yeah, but so is the owner who said he would only book girls that he wants to still there? No response. Nada. So, yeah, I have nothing to hide. This is my show. I talk about what I want. And that's what happened. You know, when I was there, the women were given the proper respect. They always had to be on the same night that the CZW shows went on, but the women could never get the evening show. How about letting the men run the 4 o'clock show and then the women get the 7 or 8 o'clock show? Everybody knows people on Saturdays that prime time is in the evening. It's like, oh no, we'll just put them on a Friday night. Okay, Friday night when they're competing against high school sports, when they're competing against the latest movies, when you're not even pushing with promos, not having a building that has secure enough Wi-Fi where you could do immediate promo, immediate uploads. Yeah, that made a lot of sense. So, you know, that part was just like very annoying that we couldn't get the ladies the respect that they deserve. And I'm just happy to see a lot of them now in WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, doing their thing. Jordan Grace, Kiera Hogan, Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez. So just to see them from Maria Manic, Penelope Ford, all these women who we've worked with, Tessa Blanchard, we worked with these women at WSU one point in time. Oh, how could I forget Ember Moon? You know, as you can see, the list goes on and on, right? So I'm just happy. I just hope that those who are there now will be able to get the respect they deserve or use it as a stepping stone to bigger and better things. That way they can end up on these shows making the money that they deserve for putting their body on. So that's my spill about WSU. But yeah, back to the War Games. I'm really excited about this. So right now we have Rhea Ripley, Tegan Knox, Candice LeRae, and Mia Yim going against Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and the last person to be determined. Whew, men's War Games, women's War Games, they're going to go back and forth. I think the women's War Games may actually be better than the men's, slightly. Only time will tell. Sticking with women, let's move on to NWA Power. So, over there, this past week, we saw Ashley Vox again. And I think they really got something going with her. Just to see her in the ring again, I thought it was, huge. She wrestled Allison Kay. She came up short. She wrestled Marty Bell. She was able to score a victory over her. And then she came up short against Thunder Rosa this past week. And then we saw Marty Bell come out there. And Marty stopped the attack that Thunder Rosa kept delivering on her. Then afterwards, she talked to, she cut a promo and just talked about how she didn't appreciate Allison Kay saying she wasn't ready. And that would lead to Allison Kay coming out saying, Marty, why are you doing this? We best friends. You don't have to, you could have just addressed me one-on-one. Well, Thunder Rosa would attack Marty Bell. And I'm sitting there watching. And I'm like, and I even tweeted from the Wrestling Realm at Wrestling Realm, Marty, what are you doing? That's your best friend, but you're not helping her. Why not, right? Well, that would lead Marty Bell also in WSU, former WSU, same with Allison Kay. That would lead to Marty Bell turning on Allison Kay, and she tweeted something along the lines of, she don't need people in her life that does not believe in her. So I thought this was incredible. I'm coming around, folks. I know when I first started this, I wasn't really high on NWA Power, but I'm really starting to come around, starting to enjoy it. I look forward to it on Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Solid wrestling. That's what I had to look at. The presentation, I was like, don't really care for it, whatever. But you know what? I have an open mind. And sometimes it changes because I look at things and say, let's get out of my head and let me look at it from this point of view. And I enjoyed it. We crowned a new NWA national champion. Colt Cabana defeated James Storm. James Storm congratulated, said, we'll see each other again. I thought that was good. Aaron Stevens, what's up with this man? He can't defeat, I'm about to say homeboy. What's his name? Yeah, Ricky Starks. He can't defeat him for some reason. 2 weeks in a row. And this time he lost in a 2-out-of-3 falls match back to back. So I don't know. Aaron Stevens just ain't got the juice no more, folks. Woo. But let's move on. So it's time to go around the net. Around the Net brought to you by B Waters Productions, where if you have, it's the holiday season, you may want to get a photo shoot done, you may want to make a special video for somebody, contact B Waters Productions to handle all your production needs, whether it's video, photos, or social media graphics. Not going too far around the net, got to talk about this. Kyle O'Reilly opening up just recently about living with type 1 diabetes. Shout out to him. I tell people, get checked out. That way you can take care of yourself. I have, runs in my family. I should say the habits that lead to it runs in my family. I know that he discussed it, and I just think that's really cool that he's bringing awareness to this. I work in the medical field and research, where my job is to deliver the research, the new research to the media. Essentially, it's a lot more to it. Follow me at Brian H. Wars if you want details. But to be able to see like Kyle O'Reilly, a champion in the WWE, a former Ring of Honor world champion, talk about this, I think this is great, because what you got to understand, folks, is awareness is key. When you see these people out there, these wrestlers, these athletes talk about something that they're going through or something that they have, it makes you realize how human they are, and it makes you say, you know what? Okay, they can beat it. I can too. They are inspirations. Maybe if you're not suffering with this, but they can be an inspiration to somebody else. Look what happened with Roman Reigns and him battling leukemia. He was an inspiration to other people. So big props to Kyle O'Reilly for coming forth with that. Randy Orton signs an extension. Yes, the Viper signed a 5-year extension with the WWE. Did you really think he was going anywhere? No, there's talks about AEW and him being a lifer. Randy Orton just pulled the move that everybody else has been doing. Your Leo Rushes, your Sasha Banks, your Revivals, everybody, Listen to AEW, make Vince cough up the cash. That's simple. Can't blame him. Can you blame him? But WWE was not letting Randy Orton go. Think about it. John Cena's doing movies, whatever. John Cena is one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time. Randy Orton is in that same category, that same boat. When you look at somebody, if you want to build a WWE superstar, a perfect one, who else are you going to look at? You're going to look at Randy Orton. We knew he had it the moment he stepped foot in the WWE ring, and if you didn't believe it, you were psyching yourself. But the moment, for real, what I'm pretty sure everybody else got it, was the moment he joined Evolution. So that's it for around that. I'll be back. I'm going to take one more break, and after that, I'm coming back with a Full Gear preview after this.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Wrestling Realm.
You already know who we are, but you don't know why we're back. Hey guys, I feel like they hear us, but they're just not listening. So I feel it is our responsibility to make them listen.
And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. You get all the cool stuff, the crazy stuff that the real Dwayne Allen and I do. So AEW Full Gear will happen right here in Baltimore, Maryland, where the Wrestling Realm is born and raised. At the Royal Farms Arena. If you're going to the show, make sure you tweet me at Brian H. Wars. No, I won't be there. I'll be in Atlanta. But Saturday night, you best to believe I will find a way to watch it. So, AEW, we're going to start off with the Women's Championship match, as Rio will defend her Women's Championship against Emi Sakura. My prediction, Rio wins this. Emi Sakura is somebody I believe she looked up to. Not really familiar with neither one of their work outside of AEW, but I believe that's what I heard from the commentators. Not gonna lie to you, but I just think Rio is primed to hold this title until a Britt Baker or Allie or somebody is ready, or somebody else. But I think Rio is holding on to this championship. Another women's match: Bea Priestley taking on Britt Baker. This should be, this is personal. They've been building this feud, and I'm just wondering, will it deliver? In the end, I do think Bea Priestley might actually get Britt Baker. Why? Because I think they want to garner some sympathy around Britt. If you look at the internet, you guys have been killing her. You've been getting on her about her wrestling, saying she can't tell a story. And I think they're going to make you pay for that, because now they're going to sell you on the fact that, hey, this is somebody we want to go with, so we're going to make you sympathize for. Here's the thing about AEW and the women's division. They have a lot of parts. They have a lot of key people, whether they're signed or whether they're just on a contract or a show per appearance. I don't know. But they have people I want to see wrestle. Mercedes Martinez, the Big Swole. We know El Ali. So, just come on. I just really wish they would just cut these women loose and let them go. You got 2 hours of television. That's enough for two women's wrestling matches. We'll see. Let's move on. The Tag Team Championships. It's a triple threat match where SoCal and Sensor will defend their titles against the Lucha Bros and Private Party. I don't think this title changes hands just yet. I just don't. I think this would be a good match, though. Private Party, the world's gonna find out. We saw them when they defeated the Young Bucks, but now we're gonna find out how good they really are. With the titles on the line, in there with a couple of veterans. Let's see what happens. I don't think it's gonna be a lot of the same high spots, so that's what I'm gonna say. Can they keep up? This is an opportunity for Private Party to get over in a loss. In the end, I think SoCal and Censor holds on to these titles. In a singles match, Adam Page versus Pac. I think this could be the match of the night, depending. Then you have quite a few matches. You got 7 matches on here. I think this could be the match of the night. In the end, I think Adam Page gets the victory. Pac has not lost in singles competition, if I'm not mistaken, but I think it will happen in Baltimore. Then we're going to have the Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz. I think Santana and Ortiz wins this one. I think what we'll see is a setup with the Inner Circle starting to get, due for a big night. They're talking about going down Baltimore, downtown. They ain't say Baltimore Street, even though that's why I was like, it'd been funny if Jericho would have said Baltimore Street. But then we'll go hang out in Baltimore with a little bit of bubbly, baby. But I think it starts here. I think they'll be the first ones for that team. They don't have that many matches. But yeah, they'll get the win. And then in a non-sanctioned match, it will be Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. I think these two are going to just beat each other up really, really bad. I'm hearing a lights out match. But I don't know. I feel like Kenny Omega needs this. And I'm trying to suspend how the WWE and even WCW did things where, if this person goes over last, they win it at the pay-per-view. Or we need to get this person, we want to send the fans home happy. All that stuff, I'm trying to suspend that belief because I don't think AEW is going to follow that formula. And this is the opportunity where we see how much are they going to be like the WWE and how much they aren't. Right here, it starts right here, and that's what I want to see. But in my prediction for this, I'm going with Kenny Omega. And then last but certainly not least, more than likely should be the main event. If I was booking, it would be the main event because I want people to know that my championship is the most important thing on the card. Cody Rhodes, or I guess we should say call him Cody, will challenge Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship. Here's the thing. If Cody loses, he will not challenge for the AEW Championship ever again. You look at the promos building up. First, they showed us the Cody Rhodes promo. It's very serious. Everybody was like a documentary, mini doc, right? Everybody's talking about how locked in and how focused he is. Then Jericho came with his, and it was a parody. It was everybody talking about, he's going to beat the shit out of him, and he's going to do this. But it had that little bit of comic factor. You saw Jericho laying in a bathtub of bubble bath, drinking the bubbly. I think Cody wins, folks. I really do. Jericho's due to appear on NBA Inside Thursday night. That's the good stuff. But Cody can be that next guy who can still have that crossover appeal. Yes, Chris Jericho is a walk-in Hall of Famer. Cody has been established, and he cut one of the best promos I've ever heard him cut since I've been watching him. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was one of those folks that actually preferred Ted DiBiase Jr. over Cody Rhodes. Boy, was I wrong. Me and my boy Brandon Ryan, B. Ryan, we talk about it. How wrong were we? Because we looked at Teddy, and he had the pedigree. And so did Cody, but he had the look, and he wore knee pads. And then Cody just looks so small. But I mean, over the time, you see him grow and grow and get better and better. This year, the best match, to me, the second best match of the year. And maybe it was the first for a lot of people. Him versus brother Dustin. I mean, the story that they told. I'm not going to lie. I am biased because I enjoyed Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. It's deeper than that. It was deeper than wrestling for me. You gotta understand. I'm a black man that really wanted a black WWE champion, an African-born WWE champion. But Cody and Chris Jericho. First, I wasn't really sold on this match when they first announced. I'm like, man, but I wish they would have not announced it before the first ever AEW Dynamite. I wish they could have gave us just didn't tell us, but I guess they had to sell the pay-per-view. They could have just told us Chris Jericho, look, it's Baltimore. Baltimore's a wrestling town. You tell us Chris Jericho's going to defend the AEW Championship, we're going to show up. Bottom line, I would be there if I didn't have to work. But they told us Cody versus Jericho, and people was like, oh man. But then the story going into this thing was good. Now I ain't gonna lie. To me, AEW selling this pay-per-view, the go home show, maybe because NXT just put on a crazy show, but not really sold on it too much. But I'm gonna watch it. So, but that's, with this being said, my pick, and I could be wrong, my pick to win this match and become the new AEW World Champion. Nope, I can't do it. I can't. I want to pick Cody. I do. But there's 3 letters out there that's preventing me. Do you know what they are? MJF. I think he turns on Cody. I think he joins the Inner Circle. And therefore, Chris Jericho retains the championship. And Cody never challenges for that title again. So that's my predictions, folks, for AEW. And that is actually going to wrap up things for this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm not going to make any promises. Here's the thing. For the next 10 days, dare say, I'm going to be not in Baltimore. I'm going to be away. I'm going to be on call, on business. Got to make a business trip. Chances are, I may do a show. Chances are, I may have some equipment with me. But then there could be nights where I'm just tired. Like I said, when I went to New Orleans back in September, I thought I was going to do a show. I didn't. But last year, when I went to Chicago, last November, I did a show. Went to Vegas, didn't do a show. So, I'm not going to make any promises. I'll say stay tuned. Make sure you follow Wrestling Wrealm for updates at Wrestling Wrealm, or follow me at Brian H. Waters for updates. As always, I appreciate you subscribing to the show. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate all the support. Shout out to everybody who supports the Wrestling Wrealm. I know I had a little rant earlier, but as you can see, I'm not only passionate about the Wrestling Wrealm, I'm passionate about the business and the people who perform in it. So I don't want to see anybody being done wrong. I don't want to see, especially the women who go out there. They already have to deal with so many creeps, folks, in their DMs. I don't want to have to see them going through that by promoters. Those scumbag promoters need to be gotten rid of. That's where I'm at with that. Until the next time, folks, I'm Brian H. Waters. So long, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Wrealm posts new content.